Former President Donald Trump's bid for re-election appears all but certain. In a new interview with New York Magazine, Trump tells reporter Olivia Nuzzi, quote, "In my own mind, I've already made that decision." He says the only thing left to decide is whether to announce before or after the midterms. Trump told the magazine that a benefit to announcing before the midterms would be to clear the Republican field, saying, quote, "I think a lot of people would not even run if I did, because if you look at the polls, they don't even register." That's actually not true. Recent polls show Florida Governor Ron DeSantis tied or ahead of Trump in some key states. However, Trump claimed in the interview that he doesn't even consider DeSantis to be a rival. When the topic of the many state and federal investigations into the former president came up, he denied that shielding himself from prosecution is among the reasons for running, claiming, quote, "I did nothing wrong." Joe, I'm not even going to give that last comment a thought.
Of course you did. Perfect phone call. I did nothing wrong. I ran around saying my vice president should be lynched.
I think the comments about Ron DeSantis are interesting and put Ron DeSantis in an interesting position.
Well, it's still Donald Trump's party, no doubt about it. That said, there is obviously more question of whether he could just walk through the primary and win state after state after state, and he did in 2016. Probably more questions than any time since Ted Cruz beat him in the first contest in Iowa. In the Iowa caucuses in 2016. Jonathan Lemire, though, obviously Donald Trump has been your beat for a very long time. The White House, your beat. What can you tell us?
Well, if he says he did anything wrong, we should just take his word for it and be done with that, Joe, clearly. I think that what he said there in this interview with Olivia Nuzzi of New York Magazine, though, is interesting. And he's certainly been hinting at this for a while, that his mind is made up and that he is going to run. It's a question of timing. And certainly most Republicans last thing they want is him to jump in before the midterms. They feel like they've got a good environment this November to win back the House and have a good shot at the Senate as well, though less of a sure thing, to be clear. And they feel like Trump jumping in would just be a distraction, would change the conversation, what they want it to be about, which is about inflation and about President Biden's currently poor poll numbers. And some Republicans are getting nervous right now, though, that other issues are moving to the forefront, like abortion rights, like gun rights, things that Democrats poll better at. They have more of the public support, and certainly the public as a whole disgusted by what they saw on January 6th. And these hearings being in the news is the belief people I've talked to in Trump's orbit is why Trump is suddenly itching to jump back in, to change the conversation away from January 6th, to change the conversation away from all of those criminal investigations, and yes, to try to scare off other Republicans from directly challenging him. But I'm cautioned, though, I've been told the decision has not been made yet on timing. It may slip till after November. It's whether the people around the former president can convince him to wait.